This is a Dragon Blazer production, and I am the little boogeyman.
All right. Coming down the aisle, your podcast tag team champions of the world, Boomer and Blaze.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another exciting edition of the Boomer and Blaze Show. I am Boomer.
And I'm Blaze.
And here we go, another week, and we're all hoping, at least, anyway. I mean, look, Kane's on the cover art, so can we do anything but hope this will be a little better than last week? We apologize. Thank you for everyone who listened. But Starcade was a little rough, man. It was a little rough last week.
I'm so excited about these WCW pay-per-views, but I guess I'll be more excited when we get closer to, good WCW pay-per-views.
Yeah. Something funny I want to bring up real quick to tie into last week's episode. If you haven't listened yet, I apologize. But, anyway, you'll get this when you get there. But we had discussed the main event last week and how it ended, especially with all the build. Remember, that it was stopped for blood. And we had talked on the show wondering about if that was the plan. Well, I happened to be listening to what happened with Tony Schiavone. And hey, it's Conrad. He's a mortgage guy if you need financed. I'm trying to plug here, right? Hi, Conrad. Anyway, I was listening to their show, and they talked about that match, and that was not the planned finish. Joe Frazier saw all the blood and just kind of got panicked and was more in his world of boxing thinking, if this happened in my world, I would stop this thing. I got to stop this thing. So that was not the planned finish for that match. I found it interesting after we had just discussed it. I happened to listen to an episode of a podcast that talked about
Did they say what the planned finish was?
They didn't say what the planned finish was, but the stoppage was not a planned finish. So
so that's why it was so weird of an end. Okay.
Not only that, it's
because I kind of wondered that.
It was a different match that they were watching that got stopped by blood, but they were bringing up the fact that you don't do that in wrestling. That's just something we don't see. They don't stop wrestling matches normally because of blood. I mean, one of the bloodiest matches ever, I can't remember the pay-per-view off the top of my head, was JBL and Eddie Guerrero, to where that match is so bloody that if you ever see highlights shown, it's shown in black and white. And they didn't stop that match. Like, it's just a thing you don't do in wrestling. Joe Frazier was just out of his element and saw all the blood, and, fair enough. I get it.
We threw Mankind off a cage twice, and they didn't stop shit, so...
Exactly, because it's the world of wrestling, folks. Like, I'm one of those people that I'm right there with, like, Eric Bischoff, and a lot of those guys get really mad if we have a Hell in a Cell or a steel cage match and no one bleeds, because, come on. If you're busting this guy's face into a cage, I'm supposed to believe it, then there needs to be blood, It's just a sport.
Right, absolutely.
Anyway, I found it interesting that I happened to catch that. So Tony Schiavone did not say what the original finish was supposed to be, but he did say that was not the planned finish for that match. So there you go. Makes me feel a little better about it now, because I was like, man, all that build and the two biggest stars at that time, and that's the way you finish it. Like,
yeah, it was weird.
So it was weird, but there you go. There's a little something I didn't even know, because we're going so far back, it's even before my time. What do you know about that? You're really testing my knowledge on these, so.
This is such a simple cover art we did here, but I actually really love it. Just our eyes.
Yeah.
And if you don't realize, the left side, or actually technically it would be the right side if you're looking at it through the eyes, is your eye, and then the left side is my eye.
Yeah. And if you can't tell it at first glance,
so
trust
simple.
me, if you pulled up the original cover art and put it next to it, it's a very simple thing, but you can definitely tell those are not his eyes. Those are definitely our eyes.
No.
Yes.
Well, this side over here is very dark and very simple, but I like it. It's so simple.
Very simple, but it does.
I felt like that was the best way to do this one.
Yeah, I agree. Turned out good.
And it worked.
All right. Well, let's start this week on one sad note. It's only one this week. And I feel bad because I almost forgot. Not because it's not good when anyone dies. I mean, that makes me sound like a horrible person. I'm not the heel. This guy is. But I almost forgot, but it's only because I don't know a lot about this gentleman, but he is part of what I think was one of the greatest storylines in WWF ever. Because, I mean, I was a kid when Sergeant Slaughter was a heel and they did the old, whole I'm working with Saddam thing and blah, blah, blah. But
Yeah.
I thought it was genius and I believed it. And this man's life got threats, over this character. I think it was one of the greatest things ever done. And we did lose one of his sidekicks, of course. We lost the Sheik several months ago. He was with Sergeant Slaughter then too, but we lost General Adnan. And I know that the time he came to be Sergeant Slaughter's, partner in crime or whatever, he was older and he is a wrestler. I just don't know a lot about him. The only thing I know about him is this particular part of his career when he was General Adnan. And like I said, I still think it's one of the greatest storylines ever, in my opinion. To the point even where a lot of people think that when they were, I forget what WrestleMania they moved, it was the one where Hogan and Slaughter faced each other. It was supposed to be in the LA Coliseum originally. And the rumor was they were moving it because they couldn't sell at the Coliseum, but that wasn't it. They moved it because they felt it was better to be indoors in a smaller venue because at that time Sergeant Slaughter was getting all those threats. And this is right during or after Desert Storm, so it was really that serious. People still believed wrestling that much back then.
Yeah.
And when I was a kid, I thought this guy kind of looked like Saddam, so he was
Really
seemed
bad,
like he seemed like a perfect fit into that faction, and he only wrestled a few times at that period of his career, but rest in peace. He's still a big part of my childhood, and to me, like I said, I think one of the greatest villain characters. You talk about heat. These guys today got to get heat. They just got to make people hate him. Like Sargent didn't even have to say anything except for "Forget America, I'm all about Iran now," and he was instantly the most hated person in professional wrestling. So,
yeah, unfortunately, I don't. Other than like watching this pay-per-view, if it wasn't because I was doing this podcast, I would not have remembered General Adnan. I might have seen him a couple times as a kid. I remembered the Iron Sheik before doing this podcast. I did not remember General Adnan.
Right. He was the other guy, like I said, and you probably did see him because he was there, when Sargent was fighting Warrior and Hogan and all that. And I know you remember Slaughter being a bad guy, so he was always there. But like I said, the only match I remember him doing is when Hogan and Warrior took on all three of them at the one SummerSlam. That's really the only. He might have wrestled one or two other times. He was pretty much like the manager at that point. I mean, even Colonel Mustafa, even Sheik wasn't wrestling as much when that faction was together. So
right, but they just brought him in because of the heat of Desert Storm.
Right, exactly. He had the look, and it just added more heat to the faction and the character. Yeah, so may he rest in peace. So there we go. At least it's not as rough as it has been. It's part of life, but it's never fun. Oh well. But hey, we're excited about something else because yes, we're a wrestling podcast and we do what we want, and it is that time of the year, and it almost slipped my mind, but we get to talk about football.
I don't know if this is the most exciting thing right now.
The NFL is back, and unfortunately, week one for us made us had flashbacks to our old podcast that lasted one whole season.
Yeah. I don't even think it made a whole season on our podcast.
I don't think it did either. I don't know. Check the archives, right? It's there somewhere. But so yeah, for those who
did not, we did not finish the season. I know that for sure.
Okay, that was a rough one too. But for those of you who don't know, we are both Bengals fans, and this was our logo for our first podcast we did together, Who Dey Bitchin.
Well, this is the logo I made well after we finished.
Well, after the show was over with, yes. So that's fine, and I do like that logo. Yeah, we're gonna have to.
I love it. You got Burrow as Luke Skywalker. Yeah. You're as Han Solo. I'm Princess Leia. We have, of course.
Why wouldn't you be?
We have Who Dey in place of the Who Dey mascot in place of C-3PO.
Yep, and we got
R2 did not come up with something for R2. I was like, R2 just stays. And then if you also noticed, I also have the Steelers logo
on the Death
and the
Star,
terrible towel on the Death Star because they're the villains.
That. Yeah. I see that. Yeah. So, even though this podcast isn't around anymore, this can be our logo when we discuss football. So,
Yep, this is our
um,
new Who Dey Bitchin section.
yes, this is our Who Dey Bitchin segment because we do what we want. That's fine. I'm all for it. Unfortunately, I didn't get to watch any football. Um, there goes part of the restaurant life again. I could have went back, I guess, but I saw some highlights that I didn't need to see. That was not the way we wanted to start the season right there.
Oh,
Um, let's see. What did that game show us? Oh, I know what it showed us. Our O-line's still trash. Like, when are we going to fix this? I don't know. Like, do we
okay.
have to literally put Joe Burrow out there and just let him get torn
We're
completely to shreds for someone's like, hey guys, this isn't working? What?
Look, I know we're bitching. I know we're bitching, but I don't think it's the O line. I mean, I didn't get to watch the show. I had other things that I was doing. I didn't get to watch it completely, but I can give you some defenses here. Nothing about this match was good, but here's some truths. Okay, here's some facts. Number one, it was a downpour. This was this was a very sloppy game. Our defense did pretty well against their defense up until the end. Um, I believe this was only a. I don't think a touchdown happened in the first half. I don't remember, but I know. I mean, it was a pretty defensive game most of the way, and then a few things happened, and the Browns got a few touchdowns. I believe in the second half. Like I said, I didn't get to watch it completely. Um, but it was a rainy game, and when it comes to rain games, things happen. People do not catch balls, and stuff like that. Um, Number two fact: we always struggle with the Browns. The Browns match up well with us, or they just decide that they're going to play their hearts out when they face us. I don't know what the situation is. Joe Burrow has struggled with the Browns pretty much every single time. I think he's only beat them once, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So it's not like this is a surprise. Number one, and there's a big reason for that. Browns have one of the best defensive lines in the league. And I don't care how good your offensive line is, they're going to wreak some havoc. Okay? I don't think there was an interception in this game. I'm not sure what the sacks are. I could maybe look at them, but their defensive line is a terror, okay? And couple that with the fact that you got a rainy game and you're not able to get that ball out properly, people are having troubles catching it properly, it's going to be a sloppy game. And unfortunately, we did not overcome it. And I'm not trying to give us excuses there, but that is the reality of it. You're facing one of the best defensive lines in the game. And
Well,
then
and
another thing.
I
I'm
mean, you
sorry, go
also
ahead.
like you also said, it just really comes down to you never know what'll happen when these two teams play. It doesn't make the pain any less, but it is what it is. I mean, I forget what year it is, but I always go back to that year where it was the last game of the season. It was Bengals Browns. We were the two worst teams in the NFL, had no chance of playoffs or anything, and they put up the most points ever in an NFL game combined. I always go back to that, right? Because it's just you never know with this rivalry. But
Yeah.
it's just not the way you want to start the season, especially after Joe became the highest paid player in the league.
Yeah,
It's just
that sucks. And that sucks. I can tell you Joe was sacked twice. I don't know the hurry ups and all that. He was only sacked twice. Watson was actually sacked 3 times. We actually got to Watson 3 times.
right.
So, I mean, I don't think that, there might have been some stuff, but I don't think that's really. No, I didn't watch the game. I
I
did. I kind of
I
watched it. So I can't tell you that maybe if I would have watched it, maybe I'd have a different opinion on the O line. But based
I
on the
mean
stats,
I didn't watch the game either. I didn't either. It's just that you've been a Bengals fan as long as I have. And I know Joe Burrow's still young, but even just one game in, and it's already like I hate to start getting thoughts of, is this going to be a miss? Are we going to miss this opportunity? Like, he's still young, but it's still the Bengals. Like, are we going to miss
I
having? This is, I mean, Burrow. I know I'm a fan, but you can't argue that Burrow is definitely a top 10 quarterback, probably one of the top 5 in the league.
oh no,
Are
I
we,
get it,
you know,
and
so
and I would like to.
it's just that feeling of being. I lose like you're trying to be logical about it, and I lose all that because I'm a Bengals fan. So, I throw the logic out the window and I think, oh, here we go. Are we just going to
maybe
waste
I've
this?
been a
Are we going to waste this
maybe
talent? Like,
maybe I've been a Bengals apologist for too long, but I'd
maybe.
like to bring up one more thing. One second. I would like to bring up one more thing, and then I've got a phone call.
Oh,
But Burrow also was just coming back from an injury
he
and
is.
did not get to play in the preseason and only got a little bit of practice time. So,
Yes. Yep.
that
That's true.
you add all of that into the first game, these things happen. So, bear with me. I'm going to be right back.
All right, so we are back, and we got to cry a little bit about our Bengals, but hey, it's early. It's early. I'm not counting them down and out yet. And Pittsburgh looked horrible, by the way, so at least there's something, we can we can laugh at, right?
The problem is
And
the Browns looked pretty good.
well, that's
And
okay
so
though.
did
That's
the
okay. I
Ravens.
mean, yeah, well, the Ravens are the Ravens. I never count them down, so but it could be worse, right? We could have woke up Jets fans today.
Ooh, yeah,
Wow.
that's
So the world of football is an interesting thing, folks, and yeah, Aaron Rodgers out for the season. This is not what I saw coming.
after 4
Not at
plays.
all.
I believe it was the
Mhm.
fourth or fifth play, and he got taken out. And now they're talking about how they think that the NFL needs to have every stadium with real grass instead of this AstroTurf, because I guess studies are starting to show that this AstroTurf is actually harder on the players because of all this, because of the Aaron Rodgers injury. They're looking at possibly changing every stadium with real grass.
Yeah, I mean, it was a freak accident, and I'm definitely not going to laugh at the man getting hurt. But this is definitely not what anyone saw coming. That's for sure. And
No.
and I actually saw a video today. I mean, I didn't remember this, but this same thing happened to the Jets in 1999. They had just signed a bunch of veterans, and they had a great receivers and a good defense, and then they signed Vinny Testaverde, which you may laugh at that name, but he's actually statistically one of the best quarterbacks ever in the league. He don't have a bunch of rings, but Vinny was actually really good. But anyway, the same thing happened. 1999, first game of the season, first quarter of the game, and Vinny Testaverde tore his Achilles and was out for the season. So that's kind of crazy. Coincidental, but crazy.
They just get the butt fumble. I mean, Jets just have a bad luck. I felt bad, but they actually won. They came back and they beat Josh Allen.
A rookie returned a punt for a touchdown, right, or a kickoff or whatever. It was a touchdown that won the game, like a walk-off touchdown, I believe. So
yeah,
by a rookie. But I was trying to look it up. I can't remember, but when you go back to the AstroTurf thing, I can't remember which one it was, but if you go way back, the Bengals had drafted somebody and he tore his Achilles in the preseason. I want to say it was Kajana Carter, if I remember right. I
remember Kajana.
I think it was Kajana. He was really big and hot in college. We drafted him. He got hurt in the preseason, and I don't think he ever even played again. And it was AstroTurf, and his cleats got stuck, and so there's always been arguments about that and whether it's safe or not. But this was definitely not what anyone had planned. That's for sure. Some people are saying it's the Hard Knocks curse. I've never watched that show, but it seems like every team that's ever been on that, someone on the team has ended up injured. The season after. It's like the Madden curse, but it's the
like
TV
the Madden
show
curse?
instead. So
wow.
Yeah, it's like the Madden curse for Hard Knocks. And if I remember right, I do believe the Bengals were on there one year, and then Joe Burrow got hurt. So I mean, maybe it is the thing.
Oh, is that the same year?
I think the season after I think that season is when he got injured. I do believe so.
So let's get this straight. The Jets were on Hard Knocks, and they lose Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
Josh Allen is on the Madden cover.
Cover of Madden.
And he sucked. I mean, he had 4 turnovers.
Yeah.
4 turnovers in that game. So maybe curses are real.
And that's the thing with the Madden curse. It's not always that the player has gotten hurt, but they either get hurt or they have a horrible season after they're on the cover. So yeah, I believe stuff like that's in the mind, though. Like if you believe there's a Madden curse, then maybe, you will be cursed by Madden. I mean,
Yeah, maybe.
look at the Browns. Look at the Browns player that was on there. Remember what was his name? Peyton Hillis. He was a running back. I believe that was his name. Uh,
Yeah, I
and
remember
he was like
Payless.
the first and only Brown I think that's ever been on the cover. And then his career just went as soon as he was on the cover. So there you. But
Yeah, well,
immediately, now I didn't know exactly the conditions of the field and all that, so immediately when I saw this, my first, because we were talking about it at work the other day, my first thing I said was, part of this is Aaron Rodgers' fault because he's Mr. I don't need to do the voluntary workouts. I don't need to do the mini camps. I don't need to play in the preseason. I don't need, and I'm not saying the injury wouldn't have happened anyway, but working out in the gym's not the same as being on that football field and going through these reps and stuff. It
yeah.
could have just been an accident. Accidents happen. I'm not saying he wouldn't have got hurt, but and now what's going to happen this year for the Jets? Now you're back to Zach Wilson, who's probably not a big fan of being there right now because you went out and got Aaron Rodgers. Like, you know what I mean? So it's going to be interesting. To me, if you're Zach Wilson, you need to play your heart out this year and show you can play. I mean,
I mean,
balls
it
in your
was not. It
court.
was a
That's what.
fun game, actually. I
Yeah,
watched it. It was a fun game. That Wilson to Wilson touchdown, chef's kiss. That was nice.
yeah.
Brees Hall looked pretty good, which I'm happy about because I drafted him in a couple of fantasy leagues. So, hooray! I mean, Jets have a really good stacked team. So it's kind of heartbreaking for the Jets.
Right.
But maybe they can work
It
around
is.
Zach Wilson. Maybe they have a good enough team that they don't need Aaron Rodgers. So, all right. So, what do we got next? I think we're done with Aaron Rodgers.
Oh,
He's done.
you have a
He's,
train.
he's
You have a
done.
you have
So
a train.
yeah, I don't get to change those. Choo choo,
All right.
motherfuckers.
Sorry, kids. We had a little visitor in the background there.
Anyways,
Little.
all I was saying is, I think we're done with Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is done. So, what do we got next?
All right. Well, we're going to switch over to some wrestling and let's talk about. I sent you a picture of a pretty famous family. You got that McMahon photo? Let's share that
I
because we
do
have to
have
talk.
that McMahon
We
photo.
we have to talk about Monday. And I'm sure we have plenty of wrestling to talk about, but the reason we have to talk about Monday is because Monday was officially the day the deal closed. And now, as crazy as this sentence is going to sound coming out of my mouth, the WWF/WWE is no longer owned by the McMahons. Monday Raw was the last show with this company owned by this family. And it's kind of crazy to think that this deal is now officially done. And
Yeah,
yeah, WWE is no longer a family owned business. How wild is that?
crazy.
It is. And I mean,
It's been
we all talk a lot about Vince, and especially because stuff's come out and blah blah blah. And take all that away, I'm not talking about the personal life and all that, but think about what this man did. When he started in wrestling, there were still territories. There were tons and tons of wrestling promotions everywhere. And he just absorbed it all and took it to a whole nother level. I mean, it's just crazy to think. And look at WrestleMania now. All the other pay-per-views all kind of feel the same, but even WrestleMania to this day is like a spectacle. Uh,
it
I would
is.
watch WrestleMania I would watch WrestleMania every year, even if I didn't know the card. I mean, I could literally not know one match, and I would watch a WrestleMania anyway because
Right.
it's WrestleMania. So, um, and now, of course, to clear a few things for those who are interested up, because there's a lot of rumors on the internet about this and that and that. So, Vince is no longer a majority owner of this company. It is owned by Endeavor now. Vince is still on the board, but Vince does not have any creative control. Triple H is no longer on the board of directors, but Triple H is still head of creative. So don't listen to all these, rumors and stuff circulating around. It's in the contract that Vince will be on that board until he passes away. So is Vince still involved? Yes, but he does not have creative control over the product. So there you go, just to clear the air. Does that mean he won't butt in? I can't say that. He's buddies with the guy that bought the company. But all I'm saying
It's
is,
Vince McMahon.
as far as who's in what place, Vince is on the board. He is not in charge of creative. The story I found interesting, I don't know if you happen to see it anywhere on Facebook, but there was rumors that Endeavor was thinking about bringing back Shane McMahon, and Triple H actually said he would step down if Endeavor brought Shane back. I found that to be interesting. I don't
Yeah,
know
I
what's
didn't
going
know
on
they
there.
didn't like Shane.
I don't know if I don't necessarily know in my opinion, I mean, I don't know, but I could kind of see it as a view of Triple H probably feels like he's the one that's been there doing this. Shane over the years has come and gone. Like, I don't even think it's a personal thing. I think it's an actual work thing, right? If this was your job, you'd be like, I've been doing this for 8 years now or whatever. I forget when he switched over to an office role exactly, and Shane comes and goes as he pleases and does this and this. So I think it's probably more of that. I think Triple H has worked hard to where he's got, even though people can say what they want. Sure, he married Stephanie. That doesn't mean, if Vince wouldn't have liked Triple H, it could have went the total other way if he married Stephanie. You know what I mean? I still think he
Yeah, that's
earned
true.
this. I don't think it's just I'm going to put you in charge because you married my daughter. He still had to earn this. So I think it's more that. I think he's just like, listen, I've been doing this. It's going good. I don't want somebody coming in and taking my job. I think that's probably just more what it is. I could be wrong, but that's my thought of it. So, but there you go. No more. No more. I mean, it's still WWE, but it's going to be interesting to see what happens next. Right now, actually, SmackDown, the contract's up with Fox. And the two leading people to pick up SmackDown right now are Amazon and Disney, which I find interesting because
Ugh.
I assume if Amazon gets it, does that mean SmackDown will be streaming only? I mean, if Disney gets it, Disney can put it on ESPN and whatever else they own. They own like ABC and a bunch of other, so they would have
Can you
places they could put
imagine?
it. So
Can you,
it'd be interesting. Like
can you
Prime,
imagine?
Thursday night SmackDown on Prime Video. Is that what?
Can you
Or
imagine
Friday night, sorry.
watching SmackDown on Disney Plus?
Wouldn't that be great if
Yeah.
you like turned on Disney Plus and the first thing you saw was this Sunday live Hell in a Cell? That would be.
You know, speaking of Disney being weird with
uh,
sports, did you hear what we're getting? I believe it's October 1st.
I don't think so. No.
Disney Plus is doing a special Toy Story sandbox football game. I believe it's the London game between the Falcons. I don't remember the other team. Maybe the Texans. Maybe the Jets. It's a London game, so it's going to be at like 6:30 in the morning. But what they're doing is they're streaming it in real time, and the entire game is going to be actually animated. The Toy Story characters are going to be. It's going to be all take place supposedly in Andy's room. Toy Story characters are going to be on the sidelines, and all the football players are animated. And because of some kind of like motion capture technology, they're going to have the whole game animated.
Huh. Interesting.
I'm
Yeah, no, I
down.
didn't.
I
I
want to
didn't,
check
didn't hear
this
about it.
out. I'm afraid to know
Huh.
that they're going to do when a player breaks their leg or
Right.
like injuries happen. Like, it's like how cartoony they're going to go there. But
Oh, Disney.
this is
Uh,
insane. Can you imagine? It's like a completely motion captured animated football game that's
right.
in real
Right.
time.
Yeah.
So we're going to be seeing those passes, those runs as they happen, but animated. I'm down. Like, this sounds interesting to me. I'm
Yeah.
probably gonna be waking up at 6:30 in
It's
the morning to watch this.
that's definitely something for sure. Um, yeah. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with SmackDown. We'll see how things go here in the future with the company. Um, I sent you an image of a return that happened Monday. But there's two reasons I sent that. One was because a female superstar returned, and the other reason is that's literally the last image of the very last Raw under the McMahon family regime. So I think years from now, this photo will be one where people are like, "Oh, that was the last time the McMahons owned owned Raw." But I was actually I'm not a huge fan, and I haven't mentioned the name because he's finding the graphic. Here we go. I don't hate Nia Jax. I may not be the biggest fan, but I'm glad to see her back because of the circumstances of her getting released initially, and it involved Vince, and she was having some mental issue. It was one of them bad situations where Vince let someone go and shouldn't have, in my opinion. So I'm glad that she has a chance to come back. But you're not going to beat Mommy, just so you know, Nia. You're not going to beat Mommy. I'm just saying. But there you go. This is how Raw ended. The return of Nia Jackson, squashing Rhea Ripley in the ring. So Nia has returned. How do you feel about Nia Jax? Are you a fan, or are you just kind of like, I don't hate
I
her. I'm just not like, she's fine. I mean,
I think she has a place as like, like Undertaker, Big Show, like these big wrestlers, their presence, or I think more accurate because I've just mentioned two of the better, the the good big wrestlers, but for example, Almost, I think Almost has a place. I don't want to see Almost with the title, but as a big guy that somebody needs to overcome,
yeah, you've
that's
got,
definitely a good thing to have in wrestling, and that's what she is for the women's division.
yeah. I mean, that's a
Um,
really good point. She's a good character to have around. I mean, and even this photo kind of reminds me of Earthquake.
right?
Because of the moves she's doing and everything. And I mean, he's an example now because he was never going to be the world heavyweight champion. But man, talk about being a kid and being a huge Hulk Hogan fan. And Earthquake, I was like, man, this might be the guy that Hogan can't overcome because of his presence, because of his size. And yeah, she's definitely got a place for sure. I agree. And
Exactly.
I'm glad to see her have another chance because for her to be released because she was dealing with mental struggles and wanted some time off, that's wrong. That's totally wrong. That's not a reason to let
Yeah.
somebody go. So I'm glad to
Um,
see her back and to have another chance.
I so yeah, she wasn't one of my favorite wrestlers. I'm not a huge fan. I did like her tag team run with
Yeah,
who was it? Shayna Baszler, I think. Her
yeah,
and Baszler, I think, were tag team champions. I liked that run. I also really enjoyed the because we were doing the Fantasy League um, at that time, and there was a whole session on every Raw where she did a Samoa drop on who was it? Was it Zelina Vega or Lana? I think
I
it was Lana. She kept
might have been
on
Lana. Yeah,
Samoa dropping Lana on a table every single Raw. And I had a
yeah,
blast. It's like, oh
yeah.
no, not Lana again, Lana
But you know what?
again.
And you mentioned it. You mentioned it, and I think that'd be a really good fit. You mentioned her tag team run, and I think it'd be really good if they put her in a tag team because I still wish they could keep the women's tag team division stronger.
Mm-hmm.
They talk about the tag titles being cursed too, because every time someone wins them, somebody gets hurt. But I wish we could have some more established women's teams if we're going to keep the women's tag titles around. And Nia would be great in a tag team. That would be a good place for her.
I liked her on her tag team run, so
Yeah, yeah,
yeah. But for the most part, she's not one that I want to see around the women's world titles. But yeah, tag team division, I'm down for. But I do like her as a presence. I think like she's a good hurdle for mommy to face.
yeah,
But if she beat mommy, I think I'd be upset. Does that make
yeah.
sense? Like
Yep,
I'd
I'm the
be
nope. I
disappointed. I don't
I
want to
totally
see her
agree.
with the title.
Yeah,
I
I
don't mind
agree.
her fighting for the title.
Yep, I agree. Totally. Yes,
So
definitely.
that's how
She's
I feel about
almost
Naya.
she's almost like a female Brock Lesnar in a way, which I know Brock gets the belt a lot, but Brock is a good person. They use Brock to build people. Brock is a beast to overcome. And Nia can be that. She doesn't need to be a champion, but she can be a beast to overcome in the women's division, I guess is the comparison I'm trying to make there. Brock's
I
proven
guess
he don't mind Brock's proven he don't mind doing the job. But anytime Brock faces anybody, you always think, "Oh man, they're in trouble. This is Brock."
right,
And I
it's
think she
Brock.
could be
Yeah.
that kind of presence, like, "Oh, Nia, you don't want to get in the ring with Nia." Oh,
I think
yeah.
I think it
So
helps for me because I really disliked Nia at first, um, but I think it also helps for me the fact that Nia um, was in a good place when when she left. I was enjoying her character, so I
yeah,
actually was high on her at the time. So
right.
I'm not too low on her right now. And yeah, like I said, I don't want her to win the title, but all right.
Yeah. So there you go. That's what happened on Monday Night Raw. Let's see. I'm so professional all the time. Real quickly, let's address something. I didn't send you this with a graphic or anything, but I just want to just read real quick something. We're going to go back to Mr. Punk because you know the rumors have been everywhere now that Punk got fired and he's out there and blah blah blah. So of course people are like WWE, WWE, WWE. Well, let me read this statement just real quick from Nick Khan, who is still head of talent relations. This is what he had to say about CM Punk. Listen, we only have respect for Phil. We appreciate his run here. We appreciate what he did and what he tried to do with UFC. Not many people can actually get in there and do what he did, so we have respect for Phil, but we wish him nothing but the best. So, in a political, nice way, he's saying, "Yeah, we're not bringing CM Punk back. That's not even a thing on the table." So,
Yeah.
CM Punk to TMA, is that what we're no? Is that what we're gonna see next? I think he's done personally, unless he decides to do some indie stuff. But that's just my opinion. But let's go from him to somebody who just broke a record. How about that? Let's talk about that real quick. We have a new longest reigning intercontinental champion ever. And as much as I love the Honky Tonk Man when I was a kid, you cannot even compare these two reigns. Like, Gunther has made the Intercontinental title matter again. He's made the Intercontinental title great again. And like I said, no disrespect to the Honky Tonk Man, but that was back when you were very rarely defending the title, and it was, I guarantee you Gunther had more defenses than the Honky Tonk Man. So congratulations. He deserves it. He was doing a celebration on Raw and he got interrupted by Mr. Gable. So we might be seeing a rematch between Gable and Gunther. Now the question is, who's going to dethrone him? Who's going to dethrone him is the next question. I don't think it's going to happen until Mania. I think they're going to let his reign keep going. But I could be wrong. And I don't even know if he'll drop it at Mania. I definitely think Roman's reign's going to end at Mania. Gunther, they might want to keep going with. I don't know. Because the real question is, and as much as I love Gable and he's great in the ring and he's entertaining, he's not the guy, in my opinion, to dethrone Gunther. I'm not really sure who the guy should be, to be honest.
I don't know.
Yeah, but I don't think it's Gable, and I don't know exactly when you do it. I know Gunther wants to face Brock, and I thought we were going to see that last year. Could you imagine that at WrestleMania? Brock and Gunther?
I'd be down.
I'd be down too, and I would normally say Brock isn't the guy that should do it, but I'm pretty sure, in fact, I know Brock's never had the Intercontinental title, so
It'd be interesting.
Not saying Brock should be the guy, but definitely take my money for Gunther versus Brock. But at first I wasn't, because we talk all the time how we're not big NXT watchers, so I didn't know a lot about him anyway. And at first I was like, man, I don't know if I'm into this Gunther guy, but he is. I do too. Yeah, I like him too, and he has made the title matter again. His matches, just everything looks real. And the fact that he lost so much weight, because I know when he was Walter, he was a lot bigger. He looks more trimmed down now. And I even like Imperium. I like the entrance. And when he flings his coat or whatever, the dude always gets it. And the whole thing. Yeah, I'm down with it. And, congratulations. Yes. So I'm sure the Honky Tonk Man's really pissed somewhere, but he'll be okay. I'm just saying, man, a lot of the old school guys are really bitter about a lot of things,
Don't know. Yeah, maybe. All right.
I'm sure he thought it would last forever, but anyway, so there you go. Congratulations to Gunther. We have someone else to congratulate. There's someone else to congratulate out of nowhere. The man. The man showed up at NXT and decided to become champ.
Now you're a man. Man. Now you're a man.
So there you go. I only know this from Facebook because, right now I'm not even watching a lot of Raw and SmackDown, let alone NXT. But this makes Becky pretty sure this makes Becky a true Grand Slam winner. I don't know if she had the NXT title the first time she was in NXT. She had the tag titles then, but I'm pretty sure she never had the actual NXT Women's Championship till now. So I
don't think they looked at her as a main eventer until she became the man and W.
Yeah, not back then they didn't know. Even though I did like Steampunk Becky, don't get me wrong, I love the man, but I liked Steampunk Becky. But I'm sure that when she first came in, they didn't see her being top. So, but congratulations to Becky. There's also sorts of gold in the house now, right? Got two champs living together.
Oh yeah,
that's so much drip going on in that house. So congratulations to Becky Lynch. It'll interesting to see where this is going, and how long she'll. I personally am a fan of. I don't watch a lot of NXT, but I like when the veterans go back to NXT and do these runs. I think it's cool. Even if it's a one-off, like I know I watched the video of Seth returning to NXT to defend his title, and the place went insane. And it's a
Yeah.
smaller crowd, so you can really, really feel it. But yeah, congratulations to Becky and on her win. All right, well, I mean, I only have one other thing. Did we have something else besides the one other thing?
Well, we have this right here, and it's nice that you say one because we're celebrating the first year of our podcast.
How could I forget?
Of the
See how
Boomer and Blaze.
professional I am? How can I forget? Yes.
Specifically the Boomer and Blaze
Yes.
iteration of our podcast. We have done
Yes.
1 year.
Right. Right. It was Rage and Blaze originally.
Was the Rage and Blaze show, and now we're the Boomer and Blaze show. And since we've
1 year.
come back as the Boomer and Blaze show, we've been doing this for a year.
A year, yeah. What are you, crazy, right? 1
I
year
know.
already. And we went from 3 listeners to like 12 now, so it's really okay. I'm joking. It's a little better than that, but I just remember when we first started, it was always the joke about we had like 3 listeners and we were 2 of them. You know?
Yeah.
That was our shtick for a while back then. But yeah, a whole year already, man. That's time flies when you're having fun, doesn't it?
Right.
I mean, doesn't even
And
seem
I just
like
looked it up. So I have now officially scheduled every single one of our podcasts on YouTube. They are releasing every Wednesday and Saturday. They are all on there. This one will be loaded up here soon too. And eventually we'll get caught up because I'm releasing 2 at a time on YouTube. So our 1 at a time here, we should eventually catch up. As of right now, we're not caught up. So these will still be a little bit behind.
Yeah,
But
I imagine it's going a lot quicker for you now, though, actually, with the video version, isn't it? Like, it's probably
yeah, because I haven't had to
editing and
that's
stuff
why
like that.
I have everything loaded up, because I didn't have to do a bunch of editing for every single one of these. A lot of them, all I had to do is and I had most of the videos saved, so all I had to do is put the video on there. Boom, they're scheduled. And so we are currently scheduled up to October 18th. Our Starcade 2, I believe, is scheduled to release on that day. This one will be the Saturday after that in October. And we'll just keep going until we're caught up. But they're all scheduled on there now. We're almost caught up on the YouTube page. So people that have been listening to us on YouTube will soon be caught up to where we are right now. So, we're doing things.
We're doing things. We're doing things, kids.
Now that I don't have to edit all these podcasts, now I have to find other things to do with my time. But yeah, I've got them all scheduled currently, and this one will also get scheduled, and I'm just going to keep scheduling every Wednesday and Sunday, or Wednesday and Saturday, up until we're caught up, and then on YouTube we will have them coming out on Saturdays, just like this show comes out every Saturday. So
there you go.
So,
all right, but yeah, there you go. Happy anniversary to us. Woo! Still waiting on our hush money, but it's okay.
We haven't got that hush money yet, but
nope, not yet.
We're working on it.
We're working on it. We are. All right. So now we're ready for our one last thing, but yeah.
Actually,
just
1
year
last
and a
things.
few more.
We
got something
last
else.
Things.
What else did I forget? Or are you throwing a curveball at me? What's going on here?
This isn't a curveball. This is some news.
Okay.
Along with 1 year.
Yes, you're right.
The Iron Sheik family reposted us.
We finally got, I said it was a shame it didn't happen before he passed away, but yes, folks, we were finally, you know what? And I'm not saying posted. Elon, it's not this, it's Twitter, and this is retweeted, okay? We got retweeted by the Iron Sheik.
We have, I believe, 12 reposts ever since they did this, and 131 likes or loves or whatever the hell X says. So, we're moving on up.
Moving on. And that was literally
to the east side.
That was literally from last week. That was last week's Chic Tweet of the Week. So we finally got it.
You sent me that, and I was like, fuck yeah, we're going to talk about this on the show. Why the hell would we not talk about this on the show?
You're right, yeah. So
absolutely. Hey, so there it is. There's the screenshot you sent me. There's the tweet. It's just another Manic Monday. I wish it was beat the fuck out of Hulk Hogan Day. That's my fun day. That's the tweet that you shared on our Boomer and Blaze. I'm going to point that out. This isn't the one I run. This is the Twitter that you run. I'm sorry, the X that you run.
The X.
And you got it. You got this. The Iron Streak reposted it, and that's awesome. In fact,
it is awesome.
Probably should share that on our social medias.
We should. I haven't yet, but deal. It is.
I haven't either, but this is cool.
For it to finally happen too, and even after we decided to, we went through that period. We didn't have it for 2 episodes probably. Before we were like, you know what, we're just going to keep doing it. So it's cool. It's very cool.
We did not have it for a couple episodes because we were like, what are we going to do? Are we going to find something else to do? Yeah, we did not. I reposted it too, and I got 3 likes so far, but that's not nearly as good.
Still, it's the point. Hey, we take the little things, this because I may be old and you're old too. We're old, but we get it. This is the world today. The world is all about the social media. So anything. I mean, even when we shared that DDP Yoga retweeted once for us, like anything like that, it's a big deal because that's what the world is. There's kids getting rich off just like TikToking for a living, man. We got to catch up. We're old, But it's all about social media, so it is an exciting moment.
And this time it was officially the Iron Sheik. Yes. I even saw it on their official. They even paid the $8 for that blue check mark.
I found this looking for. The Chic Tweet of the Week. So that's how I found it.
Oh wow! It didn't even notify you. You just didn't.
If I looked through my notifications and I didn't get a notification for it. So apparently they don't notify you when you get posted on the X. So anyway, but there you go. That's how I found it. So very cool moment. And speaking of that, it's actually time for our Chic Tweet of the Week.
Chic Tweet.
Yes, sir. And this one, I get the reference in this one. This week's tweet is, America runs on Dunkins and jabronis.
Love it. Surprisingly, this is one of the few that I've seen where he's not telling someone to go fuck themselves.
Oh, there's a lot of those, buddy. So I got plenty of them.
I know. We get plenty of those, but...
I try to only do them like every once in a while because there's a lot of. Listen, if there was ever an award for creative ways to tell people to do it, this year's your winner right here, buddy. Because so there you go. American runs on Dunkins and jabronis. There's definitely a lot of jabronis in the world. That's for sure. So there you go. The Chic Tweet of the Week. All right. Well, I think we made it through all our rambling, right? I do believe. And we are back in the WWF at this time still, and this is one of those, we've already discussed it, we already looked, so I don't even know if they'll mention on the pay-per-view this technically is in your house, but No Way Out becomes its own pay-per-view, so we are not ranking this as an in your house. We're going to rank it as its own pay-per-view, and I think we're going to be more entertained, fingers crossed, than Starrcade last week.
God, I hope so. I mean, I'm looking, and it says here the main event is an 8-man main event with Stone Cold Steve Austin. So that should be fun.
Yeah,
that sounds fun.
Sounds fun to me, and we get Kane, obviously.
You think? Are you sure we're going to get Kane? Because I'm not positive. I'm not real sure if Kane is going to show up here.
Yeah, but I hope we get a Kane match, because remember there was the one pay-per-view where Austin was on the poster while he was hurt, and he was there, but he didn't have a match, but he did show up. So we're obviously going to get Kane some way here. So
right.
All right. Let's do it. Let's watch No Way Out. All right, so here we go, and I got to say this was kind of crazy. Our first match was a tag team match, and I kind of went into it like I don't know what to expect here because as you did find it, as you can see.
Not the best, not the
It doesn't
clearest
matter, you
picture,
still
but I
found
found
it.
it.
We are still in the artist formerly known as Goldust phase, and Luna's his manager, and this is how he came out, and he was in all black. I'm pretty sure it was actually a female's leather outfit that he was wearing, some kind of night outfit, unless he just had a little two over it. I don't know, but he was all black with the red around the lips, the white face paint, and he was teaming up with who's now marvelous Mark Marrow, and this is the point where Mark Marrow is playing the domestic violence partner, basically. You know, the man
Yeah,
in charge. Like you're meant to cook and be in the kitchen because Sable's getting popular, like super over.
Sable's getting huge.
And
Fans were
they're,
cheering the shit, and I
yeah,
think it didn't help that they were playing this Mark Marrow's treating her like shit angle, so that's
yeah.
probably making the fans love her even
Love her more
more.
and hate him even more. So yeah, that's definitely
Yeah,
it. And they're facing the headbangers. So going into this, I was just like, what are we doing? I don't, because you asked me if, Marrow and Goldust were a team, and I'm like, I don't think so. I think they were probably just thrown together for a storyline, whatever.
based on the story, I think this team up was more about Sable and Luna Vachon. Like
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
the connection between these two. They tag teams together because of this rivalry that they want with Luna and Sable, which right now I think that's like one of three different women in wrestling right now.
right,
Well, you
right,
got Sunny, who's not really tied with anyone at
right.
this present time,
Nope.
and then you've got China with Triple H.
Yeah, so
So
and these are well, you pointed out, and you're probably right. These are the early, this is the starting of bringing the women's division back because it's been gone for so long. But these are like the pioneers. Um, People talk about who they want, but if you want to go way back to what brought women back into the mainstream, these are the ladies that helped start it right here. Sunny was probably the first, even though she didn't wrestle, but as far as bringing the women in this company back on the map, you know, uh, she was definitely
and
one
not
of them.
just as valets, not just
Right.
as managers. These because I know Luna wrestles, and I do believe Sable had a singles run when she broke
Yeah,
off
she
with Mark Marrow.
yep, she ends up
So that's all starting. So this is
yeah,
going to bring in some
yeah,
big names in women wrestling.
yeah. Another year or so because we'll start having Trish Stratus,
Yeah.
Lita will show up. Um, Yeah, so it's going to be now. Some of them we won't get until after WCW folds. Like Stacy, I don't think comes till after. I think Stacy comes over with WCW. I think it's the same with Tori. I think they both came when Vince bought WCW's. But we're getting close. We're getting close, and I can't wait for Lita because I'm telling you, to this day, Lita is one of my all-time favorite female wrestlers.
Oh yeah.
And it's not just because I think she's attractive and she has the tattoos. It's because of her style. Because she was literally a female
She
Hardy
was a
Boy.
fun. Yeah, she
She
was
was
fun.
she was a
Speaking of
literally a female
that means
Hardy.
we should be getting Hardy Boys soon. We should be getting
Yeah.
Ancient Christian soon.
Yep.
I'm so excited. I'm
Yeah, we're about
excited
to get a
about
lot of
Val
great people.
frickin' Venus, okay?
Oh yeah. Oh
Val
yeah.
Venus was great.
Yes. Yes. It's all good stuff for sure. But
Hello,
anyway,
ladies.
this I was telling you, I don't really remember this pay-per-view. I've probably seen it at some point in my life, but I don't remember it at all. And this match exceeded my expectations because I guess I didn't really have any. I mean, I know they're all good performers and the Headbangers are a good team. It was just a very interesting, but this had a little bit of everything, and the crowd was into it. I mean, it was hard hitting. Um, Sable ended up getting told to go back to the locker room from Marrow. I mean, this is stuff like I don't know how many people watch these when we do the podcast, but I hope you do because we can't remember like all the commentary, but that's something else that makes this stuff so great. Like some of the commentary is just, Jerry Lawler doesn't care what he says, like he gives zero. I mean, it's
Give
great.
zero fucks.
And you see so much stuff that you're like, it's the Attitude Era is starting now officially, but some of the stuff you just see and you're like, they can pull off these. Maybe this is why they have to do all the razzle and dazzle now because storyline wise, there's just so much stuff you couldn't pull off anymore. You'd
Yeah.
get canceled. And that's probably why wrestling's had to change so much to where you have to do a lot of it in the ring. But this was actually a really, really good match. Thrasher got, decimated most of the match. At one point, he got sent into the stair. He got his head sent into the stairs, and when he came back up, he was bleeding. So we had blood in the match. Um, you had the outside antics of Luna Vachon. the crowd was chanting something about Mark Marrow. I think they were telling him to go home. I couldn't remember, but
I
I
think
was
Marrow
just
go home is what they were chanting. That's what it seemed to me.
and Goldust and Marrow were really performing well as a tag team for a couple of people that just got thrown together. Like maybe people think it sounds silly, but to be able to keep people in, like I was into this match the whole time, so to be able to beat up on one guy that long and do the constant in and out tags and the double team moves, I mean, it was actually some really good tag team wrestling, and I'm partial to, the tag team wrestling. Uh, we got the classic hot tag, and when Mosh came in, he just started doing the old like punching both of his opponents and knocking them down,
Yeah.
and it was just, I don't know, man. I just thought it was a really good opening match. I'm not saying this was like, Hogan versus Warrior at WrestleMania or something, but I'm just saying, especially for an opener and having low expectations, this was really good.
You say this is a really good match, and then you suggest one of the worst main events in wrestling history, Hogan versus Warrior. I believe I shitted on that quite a bit myself, but
well, that's what you do,
That's what I mean. I throw in critical thinking is what I do.
My point is, I know this wouldn't be like the main event of pay-per-view, but for an opener, this was great.
Yeah.
And when Sable came back out, and Sable has been nothing but eye candy so far since she's come in, really. But the crowd just like,
she was on fire.
Totally into Sable.
A lot of manhandling of women at the end of this match.
That's fine,
just
right?
Holding Sable back. Mark Marrow's holding Sable back, and
Goldust,
the artist formerly known as Goldust, is like holding Luna and Michelle.
Like he has Luna on his shoulder.
Her out.
Yeah. But before he even carried her out, it was just the little things. We talk about that all the time, right? And the way that Luna was just like flopping the legs, kicking and stuff, like, let me go, I'm going to get that bit. I don't know. It's just, it had so much stuff that doesn't get done as much as it should. All that little thing, like we say all the time, it's theater, right? They told we don't even watch Raw, but we saw enough in this match to let us know exactly what's going on. Like we know what's going on. We know the deal. We know why these guys tagged. We know there's a feud about to happen. And that's what it's all about. Like, it was
one of the
entertaining.
Best parts is Mark Marrow at the very beginning, because Luna or Sable gets taken out, or she gets sent to the back. Because Mark Marrow was like, "There's only enough room for one beautiful woman in this ring, so Sable, get out of here."
Yeah. So bye, Sable.
Bye.
I mean, I was so entwined at the end of the match is when Sable came back out and when they tried to go at it, and Mark Marrow and Goldust were both outside the ring trying to keep them separated. I was so involved in that and watching that so much that I didn't notice the headbangers switched places in the ring. So when Marrow finally
did the classic switch,
and I didn't even notice it. So they had me so entwined in that story that I missed that, and that's something I would have normally noticed. But I was too busy focused on the women, scattering. So that worked out perfectly too, because that's exactly. I mean, the ref wasn't looking; he wouldn't have saw the switch anyway. But my point is, that's what is supposed to happen. Like that was good stuff. And of course, when Marrow went back in, he got rolled up real quick because he didn't know they did the old switcheroo on him. So the headbangers
Those are the kind of old school roll-ups that I love. Something like that. Simple finish. Technically, Mark Marrow and Goldust should have probably been counted out.
Yeah, probably.
To get technical, they were out that ring fighting with those women for
quite
a while. But
see, I can always deal with it on pay-per-view because to me it's like the ref's just giving a little more,
I think he was just watching. He was probably mesmerized by Sable. He was
puppies.
He was focused on those puppies.
I don't think Lawler's
really trying to not fall out.
We're gonna get that soon too. Lawler hasn't said that yet, but we're gonna get that.
No, I almost thought he was gonna start yelling that puppies.
Yeah. Good stuff. Heck of a way to open up the pay-per-view. And let's see, I'm trying to be creative, man. You know what? I'm gonna give this 4 puppies.
4 puppies.
4 puppies.
That's some Total Recall shit right there.
Right.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with 3.5. I like this as well. 3.5 switcheroos.
Switcheroos. And I'm shocked I went that high out of the gate, but it's all about everything. It's all about substance, storytelling.
I thought it was good too.
And to be an opener, Yeah, I mean, good stuff. So, all right, well, let's see what's next. I kind of cheated. I think we have a light heavyweight championship match next.
We do, we do.
Taka. All right, so before our next match, we get 1998 Sunny in a painted on pink. Yeah. Um, I couldn't talk for a minute, but that's fine. And up next,
Well, she can't really talk either in
oh
a
no,
minute,
look.
but that's
So here again, we're just trying to get Sunny on TV, which is fine because we all like to see her, but she is a horrible ring announcer. It's not her gig, but hey, whatever, it's fine. I kind of get it because the light heavyweight division is still new and they're bringing in people no one knows. But I was already like, this is going to be fine because it's a Taka match. But let me tell you something, Pantera, not the band, but this guy right here was very impressive, man.
impressive,
Another great
impressive as
match.
shit. And this is
Yeah,
like one of the first times we've gotten a mostly submission
yeah,
match that, except for one, he does a camel clutch first, and that camel clutch looked weak.
yeah,
It did not look like he wasn't giving it any pressure. It just did not look like he was trying. But then it's like he was a completely different wrestler.
dude.
Does a surfboard. Holy shit. I can't even tell you the names of some of the
No,
submissions he did
because
because I've never seen them
he even did
before.
things like out of the surfboard, but everything he did looked painful. He even did one where he had like his legs kind of crossed together or whatever, and he was just standing on them, but it looked so painful. He had his arm pulled up and his legs pulled up and just standing on them like, and the high
Yeah.
flying was everywhere. I mean, again, you see it every week now. I get it. You know, high flying's not, but this again is when not a lot of people are doing it, especially in the WWF. And there was so much high flying in the match. And this is one of those times I think probably the first time we've seen where an unknown person didn't matter. Like people still cared about the match. Taka's popular, and because of the stuff they were doing, and everybody's still on fire from that good opener, and you brought Sonny out and the vibes right, like everybody was still into the match is the point I'm trying to make. We've watched a few with people we didn't know and the crowd didn't know and no one cared. You know, no matter what they did. The crowd was into
Pantera
this
did
match.
nothing but impress me. I already
Everything.
liked Taka. Already
Yeah.
liked Taka. But Pantera, I mean, the star of this match was Pantera and not Taka
He was.
Michinoku.
And Taka got his butt kicked the entire match.
No,
Like that was the
and
big
he was selling his back injury because that's what Pantera attacked pretty much through this whole match. Just constantly, there was a beautiful suicide dive through the
beautiful.
ropes.
Yeah.
And just diving into him, hitting him into the barricade from the behind.
Yep.
There was that really awesome. I don't know what to call it because it's not technically a hurricanrana. It's where you get your legs and then you toss them. It's hard to describe, and I'm not really sure what we call it, but it's not done the same way a hurricanrana is.
Right, right. I mean, I know
But
what you're
it's
talking about. I can't think of the
similar.
exact name, but yeah, there were so many great moves. There was so much excitement, and everything was really crisp and clean. You can tell that Pantera knows what he's doing. He may not be from here; he's established wherever, but you could tell he knew what he was doing. I believed everything in this match. The painful stuff looked painful. Even that suicide dive you mentioned, I know people do them all the time, but it was just hit perfectly. Like it was totally
Mm-hmm.
believable. The contact was where it should have been, and it just flowed right. Like this was art. Again, here we go back to the theater, right? This was a good story. This was a good match. Uh, I was impressed. I mean, I thought it was going to be good
It
anyway
was amazing.
because Taka, if you don't know about Taka Michinoku, if you never watched him, people still use his move to this day, the Michinoku driver, but you need to watch some of
That's
his
one of my
stuff.
favorites.
Like
It's one of my favorites.
if you've never seen Taka, you need to watch his stuff, you know, and a very little guy. This is where you start seeing these little guys. Like we wouldn't have X-Pac or the 1-2-3 Kid if it wasn't for guys like Taka Michin, yeah, Taka. Making a
That's
name.
kind of a weird
Taka
statement to say because 1-2-3 Kid came out before Taka
Oh,
Michinoku.
I guess I said it backwards. See, I forgot what year we're in. Forgive me. But anyway, you get my point. The little
Yeah.
guys are starting to get it. Really, if you go all the way back, Bret Hart and Shawn were the true start of the littler people getting to be the top guys because of the steroid trial and all that. But you're right. 1-2-3 Kid was
Right.
first.
I mean, That's true, but they weren't ever true cruiserweights. Although Sean feels like it.
No, but compared
he always
to
felt,
Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant and the jacked up
yeah.
Ultimate Warrior.
No, they're definitely smaller.
Yeah.
Steroids brought great stars, and you know what? I'd like to formally, here at the Boomer and Blaze shows, we would like to formally thank steroids for bringing us some great wrestling and to get rid.
As crazy as that sounds, Bret Hart may have never been a world champion or Shawn if it wouldn't have been for that whole situation. So, I mean,
right.
Because Vince was always
fucking up Hulk Hogan and giving us Shawn and Bret.
Vince was always Mr. Muscle Man, and anyway. But
congratulations, steroids.
Yeah, there you go. But they're bad, kids. They're bad. We're not saying they're good. We're just they're bad.
Right.
So anyway, great match. So here we go. We're on a roll. Like this No Way Out so far has been good, and I can't say enough about this match. Very entertaining, very ahead of its time too. We will see nothing else like this on the rest of the card. That's how you know that it was ahead of its time. As far as the stuff all these guys just did in this match, we're not going to see that 5 more times like you do now. You know what I mean? So I just say it. It's different than.
It's funny, we were getting to see that kind of stuff with Mark Merrow, but Mark Merrow has completely changed his wrestling style.
Yeah.
Now he's more like a brawler, and he doesn't do the flashy jumping off the top rope.
He's leaning more on the.
It's just something I noticed now.
Yeah, just because of his changing character, now that he's Mr. Domestic violence Merrow, he can't he can't do that anymore. But you're right. Yeah, he was doing that stuff too, and we don't get to see it anymore. Owen hasn't been around enough yet to see it from Owen as much, but yeah, it's guys that were ahead of their time. It was a great match, good performance, good job by Pantera, and another excellent match back to back. And I don't normally, man, I'm so tempted. I almost feel like this might be another 4. Like, can I say this wasn't better than the first match? That's where I'm kind of torn right now. I'm gonna let you rank. I'm gonna let you rate it first. You go first. I'm a little undecided.
4 painful submissions. I am good.
Yeah.
I do think it was better than the first.
I think so too.
I enjoyed the story with the first match, but this had. I think that the thing that helps this one is the first match had a bunch of people I already knew and already liked, so I was already expecting. I had I had some expectations because I like Taka Michinoku. But then they face it again. It's a guy named Pantera that I've never heard of. He comes out in a Wish version of a tiger outfit.
His outfit was horrible. Yeah.
And then he comes out and he kills it. He absolutely killed it. And I watched this loving Taka and was like, oh, you know who I'm impressed by? The other guy. The guy I don't know. So they exceeded my expectations.
Definitely.
I give it a 4.
I made my decision, but before I give my decision, I wanted to ask you a question. Have you ever tried to eat tacos with chopsticks? I don't know if that's dude, the commentary in this match. The commentary in this match was just. We forgot to mention Brian Christopher ended up coming out, which makes sense for 2 reasons. 1, he was in the inaugural light heavyweight match and lost, so of course there's a feud there. And 2, he's not Jerry Lawler's kid. And the commentary was just. Here was a line where Jerry said, "Do you know what you call a Japanese wrestler with a belt? A thief. That's what you call a thief." Like, the commentary was great. But I agree with you, but Pantera's costume was horrible, so I'm going to give this 4 new costumes for Pantera. There you go. 4 new outfits. 4 new outfits. I'll go on Wish right now and find a couple that'll fit him. I'm sure I can. Sure. All right, well, this pay-per-view's on a roll, so I'm actually kind of excited to see what's next.
Yeah. This is head and shoulders better than Starrcade 2.
Already.
Oh, that was a rough one.
2 matches
in.
Rough one. Yeah, it was a rough one. You said, fact, off air during the first match, you were like, this is already better than the whole last pay-per-view was before we went through that first match.
Oh my gosh, yes.
So, yeah.
We were getting, half stars with all the early matches?
Yeah, with the 25
even the main event was
disappointing.
Matches.
Yeah, so...
Yeah, so this is already head and shoulders better.
For sure.
It has me scared what Starrcade 3 is going to be like after WrestleMania.
Don't think about that yet.
Okay, I won't think about it. I won't
Don't
think about it.
All right. All right. Let's do it. All right. Well, they can't all be winners.
Yep. Next.
Next.
Someone give me a next. Give me a next.
Yeah, like I didn't even realize. So you're not reading that wrong, folks. It doesn't look like them, but this was actually the Quebecers. They decided to put them back together. It doesn't look like either one of them. The Mountie grew his hair long, but he has a giant bald spot on his head. And then they still have his partner dressed as the pirate character, Jean-Pierre Lafitte. And they didn't even have these maple leaf attire on. They were in these all black
I couldn't
outfits
find
like
it.
this with a hockey team logo on them, which is probably why we couldn't find it. I don't know. And they faced the Godwins, and this was total garbage. So they can't all be
This was
winners.
not good.
We had back-to-back 4-star matches, and then we get this crap. So it's just the way it is.
Well, back-to-back 4-star for you. I gave the first one a 3.5, but that's, whatever.
Close enough, though, where we had 2 really good matches, and then we get this crap.
Whatever.
The Mountie obviously had not been in the ring in a while because everything he did looked like crap. His moves were not good.
In fairness, the Godwins have been in there for a while, and everything they do look like crap. So, yeah, maybe
Godwins, the Godwins can be good if they're with the right team. We have seen some tag team matches have been decent with them if they're with the right
Fair
team.
enough.
But this was not the right team. It makes no sense. I don't remember the Quebecers ever coming back. Like, were we really this depleted that nobody else could have fought in this tag team match? Nobody? Like, you could even put the
Well,
damn
Headbangers already wrestled.
Could have put the Bariquas in there if you had to. I don't know.
Well, they even said, like, the Bariquas was part of this feud. Something happened with the Bariquas before this match.
Right, like, it was just weird. But
we got the New Age Outlaws in another match coming up.
Yeah, we did get to see an interview with the New Age Outlaws because everything's all about who's going to be the mystery partner in the main event because Sean will not be competing. So we know it's Triple H and the Outlaws, but we don't know who their fourth partner is going to be in the main event.
I didn't realize Triple H was doing things with the Outlaws before they became the full DX so much. This is twice that they've been involved with the Outlaws, but they're not actually DX.
And I guess, though, that this was probably them testing things out because they already know at this point that after WrestleMania, Shawn's going to be gone. Like, we already watched the match where Shawn missed his backup. He's still going to do Mania. So maybe this was just like they were throwing around ideas and like, let's see how these guys... I mean, Shawn was the one that suggested putting Billy and, Road Dogg together. They were probably friends backstage. It was probably just like testing the waters, though, I'm guessing. Like, it was probably intentional because they knew they were going to have to do something with DX. That's my guess.
Yeah. I mean, maybe.
So. And it does blow my mind. I think we talked about this off air. It does blow my mind when you realize that Shawn Michaels wasn't part of... Shawn was never with the Outlaws in DX. And that's crazy.
I knew that. I knew that. I remember.
I had forgotten it because when I think of DX, I automatically think of Shawn, Triple H, Road Dogg, Billy. Those are the 4 I think of right away.
See, I've always remembered that Shawn and Triple H were DX, and then I remember after Shawn left that it was Triple H. Now, I didn't remember why Shawn left, but I always remembered that when Shawn gets taken out of DX, that it was the New Age Outlaws that took his place, and X-Pac. So I actually do remember that. Yeah. Like, I always remember them as 2 different versions of DX.
Yeah, I guess there's just a part of me that forgot Shawn wasn't there at all for that second iteration, because that's actually, when we continue our video, we'll see that clip from Raw where Triple H comes out and talks about keeping DX going and then introduces, new members and all that. But anyway, and the reason we're talking about D-Generation next is because that's how bad this match was, folks. So.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right. We're talking about the Godwins and Quebecers.
Yeah, this was crap. This was horrible. Thankfully, it wasn't super long. That's the only thing I pay full
No,
for.
the
But I have nothing for
small
this.
sympathies.
Yeah, I have nothing for this. Like it can have this. That's what this can have.
Wow,
I have
0.
nothing.
I was
Have we
going
ever
to give it
done?
at least a 0.5.
I don't even think it deserves a 0.5. Have we ever done a 0? I might start a new trend. I don't know. I mean,
You
this
know
was.
what? If those matches on Starcade doesn't get a 0,
You're right.
then
You're right.
I
Then
think this at least
so
deserves a 0.5
0.5 just because it's better than Starcade.
ish.
Ish. But you're right. I can't justify a 0 to this if I didn't give anything on Starcade a 0. So you are
No,
correct. Yes.
those first 3 matches probably all deserve 0s on Starcade. I think I
Probably.
gave him a 0.5 only because I'm like, well, this is really old wrestling. You know what? 0.5.
Yeah. Yeah. So there you go. It gets a 0.5, and we'll move on to what's next. And I think what's one of my favorites about to wrestle, isn't it?
Your favorite. It's on your
One of
Mount
my.
Rushmore.
Oh yeah, it's on Mount Rushmore, right next to CM Punk. It's right up there. You're right. All right. Well, let's see what happens.
Here's the cover. Can he do it? Kick out at 2.
Boy, it must be my lucky day, right? Because our next match, I guess I should lay down the fact that this is the time when WWF is working with the NWA. So our next match is for the NWA North American Championship, and it's JEWF, JARR, what I messed it up. JEWF, JARR, Jeff Jarrett defending the title against Bradshaw. And when Jarrett came out, he was accompanied by Jim Cornette, the NWA Tag Team Champions, the Rock and Roll Express, and the former Blackjack, Barry Windham. And right away, the ref did the old Cornette's got a manager's license, so he can stay, but everybody else has got to go. Bye bye.
Yeah, I like that. I don't think they really use that these days, but
no, and you hardly even hear a manager's license being brought up anymore. You know, that's
yeah.
that old school stuff again. And so I mean, this was definitely better than the last match. It wasn't a horrible match.
By head and shoulders.
Bradshaw's still pretty good, even though he's still young here. This still isn't Bradshaw, though. I mean, we're real close to the APA, and then of course we'll get JBL later down the road. But it was fine. And listen, we were talking off air. Like my not liking Jeff Jarrett has nothing to do with him in the ring. He's not a bad wrestler. It's other stuff I know too much about Jarrett, that I hold against him, and that's fine. And then he always just nudges his way. Like, really, it's 2023 and Jeff Jarrett's on TV every week. I don't know what it is, how he does that shit, man. But now he's on AEW all the time. Somehow he does it. But anyway, so it wasn't a bad match. And I mean, they didn't have to do a whole lot to beat the last match that we just watched. So it didn't really take. But that darn tennis racket came into play, and we got ourselves a little bit of a disqualification. I think this was fine. This was fine. This was just a fine standard match. Nothing over the top, but nothing bad. There weren't any botches. I love to hate Jim Cornette too, so I mean, it didn't bother me. I like having Jim Cornette out there. I knew the racket was gonna come into play at some point, because that's what he does.
I liked how they played with the story that Bradshaw's ex partner is the one that told Cornette and Jeff Jarrett that his weakness is his leg.
Yeah.
Because he had an injury in football, so it's like they got that information because he turned on him.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of cool.
So yeah, it had some story with it too. So yeah, I can't complain. And like I said, it definitely was lift up from that last crap that we had to suffer through. And this broke down at the end, and of course it was a DQ, so Jarrett keeps his title, but all them boys come back out, and you got the NWA jumping Bradshaw, and then who comes out? Legion of Doom. They could have wrestled the last match instead of the Quebecers. What are we doing? I'm just saying.
In fairness, Godwin's just did a feud with the Legion of Doom. Like, how long do you really want that feud to go?
Well, about as long as the Barik was in I guess, and you already have.
Yeah, we complained constantly about the Barik was in DOA feuding.
Yeah. Especially against each other. I guess, too, now that I know what match is coming up next, because we watched a little bit, we'll discuss what we watched after this match was over, but there's actually 2 8-man tag team matches, so you're taking up quite a bit of your roster. the main event's an 8-man tag, and we're about to get an 8-man tag. So I can see where you are just that match, those matches alone, you're taking up quite a bit of your talent. So I get it, But anyway, this was fine. This was decent. It was entertaining. And like we said, anything was going to be better than the last one. It was sharp. There were no bad botches. It had a good ending. LOD saving the day made sense. It was all good. So yeah, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go 2.5 double J's.
I'm gonna go with 2.5 love.
Love.
Yeah.
Love for Jared.
It's a tennis term,
Oh. No, I got you now. Yeah. I know that term.
It's a tennis term.
I was a little behind. The brain's not quite computing on time there. Sorry. You threw that one out and I missed
clever,
it.
You know what I'm saying? I'm just sometimes.
Every once in a while, we could probably find something. No, find something clever. So after the match, the first thing we saw backstage was they were interviewing Triple H about who was going to take Shawn Michaels' spot in the main event, and Triple H basically said, "There's no one that can take Shawn's spot. We'll just wrestle it handicap." And then Michael Cole mentioned that if they don't pick a partner, then the WWF's going to pick their partner for them. It was still a good promo. Triple H talking about how Shawn was the showstopper, the main event. No one could fill his boots. And then after that, we saw the interview with the Nation, and they were like, "We're going to speak to the leader of the Nation." And The Rock tried to start talking right away, and Farouk was like, "Hey," so they're teasing.
You're asking for me to kick your ass.
Yeah, like I thought it already happened, but now we're getting that tease of the breakup of the Nation. Well, not the breakup of the Nation, but Farouk getting the.
It's almost like it just works so perfectly because Bradshaw was just in a match where he apparently just broke up with his partner. Farouk is about to break up with his team.
To get kicked out. What could they do?
Could they come together?
Yeah. And if I remember, I can't remember either. We'll have to see. We're going to see it all develop because I can't remember if, I know they were always the Acolytes, whatever, but I can't remember if they were the Acolytes. I think they were the Acolytes before the APA, if I remember right. We'll see. We're about to be able to see.
Yeah, I think it was the Acolytes.
They were like
first.
in the Ministry of Darkness for a minute and all that, and I think that comes before they become the APA. But either way, it's exciting stuff. I'm looking forward to that. That's what's fun about going back and doing this and going through the timelines,
right.
Unless you have to watch the first couple of Starcades. Other than that, though, it's great. No.
That's rough. My bad for wanting to start the WCW shit.
No, I wanted to too, and we're going to get good stuff. We're just early on. It's just part of life. It's fine, It's not going to be that many before we start seeing more people that we know, and it picks up and it gets better, so it's okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, we kind of know what's next. I'm not sure exactly who they're facing, but we're about to see the Nation in action, so
probably
let's check it
Los
out.
Pericuas.
Let's see what happens.
Actually, it's probably DOA, actually.
Yeah.
It's one of those. I'm guessing it's one of those.
Don't you put that evil on us.
Yeah, but DOA doesn't have 4 people anymore. They lost Crush.
Right. Yeah.
All right.
So.
Well, let's find out.
Let's see. All right, here we go. Well, I got to take back a little bit of what I said because our next match was not an 8-man tag. Our next match was a 10-man tag, and it was the entire Nation of Domination: Farouk, Rock, Kama, D'Lo, and Mark Henry against the team of DOA, Ahmed. Sorry, Shamrock. Sorry, this is who they put you with.
I told you it'd probably be a DOA in some form.
But, we were watching this, and I said at one point, the problem with this match is they gave Shamrock all partners that can't wrestle. It's a 10-man tag, and only 6 people can actually wrestle, and 5 of the 6 are on the same team. So, yeah. So you get this. That was the problem. Anytime, Ahmed's still over, people cheer the DOA too, but they're not good performers. The things that saved this match were The Rock and Ken Shamrock. Those are the 2 people.
The end was pretty good.
And the ending that we get to, were the 2 people that saved this. To be honest, I can't talk a lot about it because I was half paying attention. I know it's my job to watch the match, but sometimes they're boring. And I mean, it was fine.
I guess I would also say that I don't know if Mark Henry's quite up to
Not
his
yet. Mark
standard
Henry's
yet either.
Mark Henry's still,
He's still a
and
little
actually,
green.
D'Lo's actually just started too, but he looked pretty good for being.
I think D'Lo's fine, but Mark Henry's been a little rough every time we see him. I guess I didn't see anything specific in this match that was rough. And Ahmed has had times where he can be okay. DOA, their best wrestler, is gone, so I really don't. I'm surprised DOA's still there, probably because they just want to beef up the tag division.
Right.
Yeah,
but that's, but here we are, and I mean, it wasn't. We saw worse. I mean, it wasn't the Godwin match, and luckily,
no, it's not.
And luckily, there was enough story involved with. We know that Shamrock and Rock are not done with the feud over the Intercontinental title. Plus, you have the tension within the Nation of Domination because they're now teasing that breakup, and or the Rock take it over.
It's Rock's no longer just the tip with that breakup. It's like full blown.
Rock's being like the disobedient child, and kind of doing what he wants and stuff. So yeah, he's
just.
And we did think for a moment after the match was over, which by the way, it all broke down chaotic and blah blah blah, and it came down to Shamrock and Rock in the ring, and Shamrock won with the ankle lock, and Rock deserves an Oscar for the way he sold the ankle lock.
Oh my gosh, it looked like he was in the most pain that he's ever been in life.
The pain and the panic on his face because it hurts, and he knows he's not going to be able to escape, but he doesn't want to tap. I mean, it was great stuff. And then after it broke down, we got another segment with the Nation. Almost looked like it was going to be the beatdown, but it wasn't. We thought it was coming, though, because I don't remember exactly when that happens. We thought this was going to be the moment where they all turned on Farouk.
It really felt like it was going to be
the moment. It felt like it, too. That was the biggest tease so far. Instead, he just made them all lined up so they could do their, little Nation of Domination pose at the end of the match. So, but we're definitely, we don't watch Raw, so by the time we get to Mania, the Nation could have already could be changed by then, So.
Oh shoot, is that next? Do we got Mania next?
Yes, sir.
Oh, that's right, we do. Yes, we do.
We do have Mania next. We have Mike Tyson Mania next. Yeah.
Oh my.
Yes, we do. So.
I see what you're saying.
I see what you're saying. Overall, though, I'll tell you the commentary kind of saved this match too because they kept saying random stuff about that's 8-Ball, I think.
Yeah, they couldn't figure out which one was Skull or 8-Ball because they're twins.
Which, to be fair, they are actually
although
twins.
They do look a lot alike, actually. Yeah, one of them could like maybe do some different facial hair or something, or
right?
Like,
just something to make a little.
I guess when you're a twin team, it's kind of good to look the same because then you can do the switcheroos and stuff like that. So
yeah, it has its advantages, I guess. Let's be realistic. Every time the DOA stepped into a ring, they were just thankful they still had contracts. Let's not fool anybody. They're still going to pay us. Yeah. I don't know why, but we still got jobs, guys. Let's just be happy. Anyway, it wasn't that bad. It wasn't that great. I love seeing Nation rock, and I'm becoming a huge Shamrock fan. But I'm going to go I'll give it 2.5 ankle locks. Break the
2.5 ankle locks.
2.5 ankle locks on that.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with 2. You sell that move, Rock. You sell that
move, Rock. And I want to mention, sorry about the cough. I want to mention something we way earlier we saw, and I forgot to bring it up. Was we saw a backstage interview with Owen Hart earlier in the show, and he is now the European champion. So obviously Owen beat Triple H on a Monday Night Raw for the title, and I just wanted to bring that up real quick and let everybody know that we saw that earlier. So there you go. And we only have 2 more matches. We know the main event is 8-man, and I promise the main event is an 8-man, not a 10-man. I promise.
Well, that's what it says on the description, so I believe you this time.
So this time. But yeah, let's see what's next.
Here's the cover. Hook of the leg. He did it.
All right, so here we go in our next match. Of course, we're on the road to WrestleMania, and we're in the middle of building the Big Red Machine Kane. And since he killed The Undertaker, the last pay-per-view, he needs an opponent, so why not Vader? And I know I say every time that I still think babyface Vader's weird. I think that I still think Vader wasn't the Vader he was in WCW when he came here, but this match, it actually worked. Because having Kane be able to, and it was a back and forth match, but the fact that Kane could do some things where he was manhandling someone the size of Vader and a big massive man like Vader, it worked in this match. It was okay that Vader was getting beat down by Kane, and it was back and forth. Vader pulled off the big Vader, the moonsault, which this man shouldn't even be able to do. He didn't quite land it perfect, but still, he did the moonsault so Kane could do the sit-up. So, I mean, this whole thing was built around building up Kane. That's the whole purpose of this match. And like you had pointed out, since he's come in, he's kind of going after, obviously Undertaker was one, but he's trying to go after like the biggest and baddest guys, I guess, you know,
he went after Mankind, and now he's going after Vader.
He's trying to go after the tough guys,
Vader might be a separate motive. Maybe Kane is looking at Vader and like, you have my color scheme. Time to take you out.
How dare you? But my
How
outfit,
dare you have black and red?
My outfit is way cooler than yours, though. So,
you know, I mean, I don't disagree.
Yeah. You know. Anyway, though, it was a pretty good match. It was hard hitting. There were some shots into the stairs. You know, a couple distractions with Paul Bearer a few times. I think we saw Kane sit up like 3 times. He does his a little quicker than the Undertaker, and he also stands up like immediately after whatever happens. You know, he stands up as soon as he rises. But I was glad we got to see that top rope moonsault. I don't think you got to see one yet, right? I think that's the first one we've seen Vader do here in WWF. He does the Vader.
I feel like he's done it at least once.
Maybe. Yeah. I know he didn't do them a lot at this point.
He normally does the Vader bomb, but I think he's done at least one. I don't think he's landed one.
He didn't. That's right. I think he did do it one time and completely missed. This time, Kane didn't move out of the way or anything, but Vader just overshot it a little bit. But still, very impressive for a guy that's almost 400 pounds. I mean, it's insane.
He's a large man.
He's a large man. He is, and Kane is too. Like, I mean, Kane was always big, but he might have been the most jacked when he first came in. Like, this might be the biggest I think Kane might have ever really actually been. Was when he first came in. Of course, he's still coming off, and I told you because we were talking about his great gimmicks he had, and he actually gives a little bit of credit to becoming fake Diesel, to taking him to the next level and getting him more recognized that he could, you know, be a star when he did that character. So I mean, and as much as everybody else made fun of it, I mean, it helped him. He could do more that than a dentist. Like, we all knew the dentist wasn't going anywhere. What are you going to do with a dentist? Like, come on. That's one of those, just like Nails, who of course he got fired because he touched Vince McMahon. But what were you going to do with him after he beat after him and Boss Man feuded? You know, and this again gives credit to Glenn Jacobs and what he could do, because on paper, Kane probably seemed like a temporary character too. Big storyline with the Undertaker, but then what are you going to do with him? You know, and here he was there forever, so that's just more credit his way. But not a bad match, and like I said, it served its purpose, and it's all going to build up to WrestleMania, which, by the way, is our next show. WrestleMania is next. Pretty stoked. Mm-hmm. I haven't watched this WrestleMania in a long time, but I know some of the matches that are going to be on there, and I'm pretty excited to get to that. Of course, we know Tyson's there. We already know that's happening. We're going to get Rock and Shamrock, Taker and Kane. Should be good stuff.
Should be.
Yeah, pretty exciting. Anyway, this was fine. This was not bad. It wasn't over the top or anything, but it served its purpose. It made Kane look like an unstoppable monster. And after he won the match with a bad tombstone, unfortunately, it was a bad tombstone. He nailed a really good choke slam and then a horrible tombstone, and then decided to attack Vader with a wrench after the match was over. Now, mind you, this wrench was like this long, real big, and he hit him directly on the head with it, very hard, but no blood, and he just knocked him out. That's all. No blood though. You know, it was a big wrench too. It was like, I thought
it was around there.
Because I guess I should have brought up when Paul Bearer had the ref distracted and they were outside. Vader actually reached under the ring and got a fire extinguisher and used it on Kane. But we all know that didn't work. I mean, it distracted him for a minute. By the way, if you use the fire extinguisher on Blue Kane, I think he gets stronger. But anyway,
touche.
So there was already a toolbox and stuff scattered in the corner of the ring by the stairs, and then after the match, that's when Kane walked over there and found the wrench. And They really sold the Vader injury too. They took him out on a stretcher and everything, and he tried to keep his head covered up. And JR's like, "Oh, I think I smashed the whole side of his face," and got to sell it. So there you go, continuing to build Kane as a monster, and they didn't say anything about it. They didn't mention it on the pay-per-view, I don't think, but Kane hasn't lost a match at this point yet either. So I'm pretty sure when he goes to face Undertaker, he's still undefeated when he goes into WrestleMania. So anyway,
gotcha.
All that said, it was entertaining. It served its purpose, and I'm going to give it 3.5 wrench shots. Wrench shots to the head.
Yeah, I was going to go 3 wrench power.
Wrench power. Wrench power. So not bad. There again with WCW, I can't wait till we get some Vader stuff so you can see Vader when he was still more in his prime and hadn't had his surgery.
That's
yet.
That's what I'm excited with WCW. But so far we've gotten a bunch of no names that I've never.
Got to get a little closer. Got to get a little closer to the '90s before it gets exciting. But anyway, well, we know what's next. We only have one match left, and it's our main event, and it looks like it's a pretty long match. So I mean, I trust the people involved. I just hope you got to keep it entertaining to have it that long. So, and I don't believe it's elimination. I think it's just a 8-man tag. So, who will replace Shawn Michaels? That's the big question. We're about to find out. All right, let's check it out. All right, so here we go, main event time, and it's an 8-man unsanctioned tag team match. And the good guys come out first, and right away they're bringing trash can lids and all this stuff down. It was good stuff. And
actually, DX and them came
down first, didn't they? And here we had this whole build through the whole show about who the mystery partner was going to be, and we get Savio Vega.
Yeah, because it was the New Age Outlaws coming down first, and they come out wearing Tennessee Titan shirts, which is great because they're in Houston, and the Houston Oilers just moved to Tennessee.
Yeah. That's that good heel, baby.
Jesse James is like, it's like they found a good team in the true South.
Reminds me of when I was at SummerSlam '96, which we reviewed, and the Browns had just moved, and Lawler come out with a Raven shirt on. Same kind of thing. Right. That's that real heat. That's that good. Make a picture right away. So we're both expecting going into this that it's just going to be whatever, right? Because there's no rules. So how the hell are you going to make them, do anything? And at first, that's how it started. It started just as total chaos,
crazy
tornado action everywhere, and man, I'll tell you what. Mick Foley and Chainsaw Charlie got to be two of the craziest people that ever lived on this earth. Terry Funk and Mick Foley are definitely two of the craziest people ever. And, I had to get that one out of the way. I mean, every time you saw Funk taking chair shots or trash can lid shots or whatever, he's just standing there like this going, give me some more. Give me some more.
That's crazy.
It is. I was the one that was like, is this really fair? Because they have Mick Foley on their team, so is it really a fair match? When you look at hardcore rules. And we're really shocked that it got to a point where there were actually tags. They actually got the match under control.
The first 10 minutes was just all insanity.
Man, I kind of preferred the first 10 minutes, though. I kind of preferred it that way.
Yeah, it's all great.
If it's supposed to be unsanctioned, then that's the way it should be. And the spot that got me, not that it wasn't good, but the spot that got me was when Savio put on some gloves and started wrapping Cactus Jack up in barbed wire, and the rest of Cactus's team's just standing on the apron. Like, what? What
do we? It happen.
You're just going to let it happen. And you were the one that's like, it's fine. It's like a Tuesday for Foley. He don't care. It's just another day. It's like, go ahead and wrap me in.
It's every Monday or whatever, but
go ahead and wrap me in some barbed wire. It's fine. But that's a little thing that I'm just kind of nitpicking about. But other than that, this was a good match. It was very entertaining. And it didn't really matter that they threw Savio in there. It was fine. They just needed another body out there. I don't think that affected the match at all. So.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised there wasn't more tension story for Stone Cold and Owen.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's just
literally...
it's just kind of instant Owen's a babyface now, and let's not even think about what happened.
Well, they even the announcers mention it.
Yeah, but they didn't really.
The storylines in the ring, they just really didn't make a big deal about it.
No, they didn't really play into that
he
at all.
He broke his fucking neck.
Could have ended his career.
Then wore a shirt that said, I broke... 316 means I broke your neck. Yeah, it's like... I feel like storyline-wise, there should be a little bit more shit going on here.
Yeah.
But hey, that's me.
Yeah. So that was another little nitpicky thing, but overall it was still a very entertaining main event. There was a spot where Road Dogg accidentally ended up hitting, or Billy accidentally ended up hitting Road Dogg with a chair, and he sold it really good with the look on his face, but I mean, I'm telling you, this whole match, every time you saw Foley or Funk, they were either eating stairs or barbed wire or chair shots or Funk got what? Did Funk get pile drive through those two chairs or power bombed? I can't remember. They had the two chairs power like bombed. This, and he power bombed them through that.
Power bombed them through the chairs.
It seemed like I don't recall seeing a whole lot out of Owen during this match. Really, they just must not have shown him much. I don't think Owen was.
No, not much.
No, Owen wasn't really involved too much in this match. So, of course, this is still not long after the screw job and stuff, and they obviously don't know what they're really doing with Owen yet at this point. But you're right, and I think maybe they kind of didn't acknowledge the tension between Austin and Owen right now because they're building towards WrestleMania and building towards Austin being their next the next guy, which I think that works out okay. I think Austin ends up doing just fine.
I think it works out. Yeah, I think he does an all right job. Yeah,
he does okay. I mean,
I've heard of him.
He's the number one merchandise seller for a really long time, So even took out.
Isn't he still?
Even took out this guy right here. Took out Hulk Hogan. I think he is still the highest grossing ever. Yeah, I do believe he's still the highest. Austin 316. I know his shirt. I know his very first shirt's still the highest selling item ever. The basic, just original Stone Cold shirt that said Austin 316 had the smoking skull on the back. That's still like the number one piece of merchandise ever sold for WWE anyway. So, but yeah, entertaining match, and it was fine. It was a good way to close out a pretty solid pay-per-view. We had a couple of inks, but overall there were a lot of good matches in this. And like we said, it's not going to get ranked this week because we are going to throw this in the No Way Out category and not the In Your House category. So, because No Way Out does become its own pay-per-view. So, and it gives my talented coworker, my co-host over there, time to come up with his, No Way Out rankings and all that stuff. We get to skip a year anyway. So, I'm guessing this is because we've looked forward to, and this is going to be the next couple of pay-per-views we run into that aren't the big four. Like we have Unforgiven coming out and some like that, Over the Edge. These are actually in your houses still at this point, but most of them end up becoming their own pay-per-view names, and that's why they are not categorized as in your house on the Peacock. Like No Way Out, for example, is its own. Unforgiven becomes its own pay-per-view. Over the Edge, there's only 2 of those that ever happened. We all know, well, I think pretty much everybody knows there's a reason that event only happened twice. So anyway, all that rambling just to point out that this is not going to be an In Your House ranked event. It's going to be No Way Out. So there you go. There's that big blab for no reason.
Indeed.
my big ramble for no reason. So there you go. Anyway, though, a pretty good main event. It was entertaining. Of course, the good guys won. Stone Cold won the match. Unfortunately, Road Dogg didn't sell the stunner very well at the end of the match, but we'll let that slide. Some people could sell the stunner really good. Some people would just lay
Billy
flat.
Billy Gunn did a pretty decent job. Done pretty good.
I just don't think it looks as good when someone just goes flat dead after you've been stunned. It just doesn't seem like that.
I know.
That's not the natural, I know Rock oversold the stunner. But you're right. Billy Guns was pretty good. And you end the night,
Agreed.
of course, with Stone Cold having his moment because we all know that he's about to go to WrestleMania and be in the main event. So pretty entertaining, pretty violent, no blood, but it's still like the barbed wire spot was pretty cool. I mean, they had it in Foley's mouth and wrapped around his crotch. Like he was just wrapped in the barbed wire. That spot was pretty cool. The chaos was fun, even when it was out of control at the beginning. So, I'm gonna give this 3.5 suckets. Suckets.
I thought this was a lot of fun. I would give it a 4 absolute slobber knockers.
Slobber knockers.
I mean, it was kind of a blast. The first 10 minutes itself was just awesome. It's not surprising that a stunner happens and Stone Cold wins it, but my only real complaint is the lack of tension between, because they even in the package before the match, they even kind of play up the fact that, you know, Austin and Owen, that this is a tension faction working together. You know, these aren't close friends here, but they're working together for like a common enemy. But
right.
So that's how I feel.
Well,
that was my only complaint, but I liked it. I didn't knock it down too much. I'm still going with 4.
Yeah, so I agree. Fun match, good solid way to close out the pay-per-view, and I really did not remember any of this, so it's fun sometimes because I'm pretty sure I've probably seen all of these at some point.
Oh, yeah.
It's just some I've rewatched some more than others, and I didn't remember this pay-per-view, so that was...
Unless it's one night only.
Yeah.
Then you haven't seen it.
Yeah. So, pretty good overall. We got some 1998 Sunny. We had some really good matches. It started off strong and ended strong. So overall, a good show. And I think it's time for us to pick some matches.
Perhaps.
Favorite match of the night.
All right, here we go. Favorite match of the night. And I had some time to think about this because... I don't know, maybe my outlook's changed a little when I pick favorite match of the night, or maybe not, but the truth is I'm just going to go with what I thought was the best match, what match entertained me the most, what match was legit my favorite, and it's not the main event. I'm actually going to go with Taka Michinoku and Pantera as my favorite match of the night.
Oh, shoot. Yeah, I've been kind of going back and forth between that match and the main event. And the main event just for the carnage and the fun.
Right. And that's kind of where I was too. I mean, the main event was good, but I just think that match went above and beyond what I expected, and that's why
it did, and it was really good, and it was just a really good, clean, regular wrestling match.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with the main event since you went with that one.
Gotcha.
Because I was debating on between the two. Since you picked Taka Michinoku and Pantera, I am going to go with the 8-man main event. Just because it was a lot of carnage, it was a lot of fun, it was a blast.
Oh yeah, both are actually good choices. Yeah, so definitely I agree. Can't argue that. So all right, well, worst match of the night. I think we had a couple of options as well.
Worst match of the night.
This one, though, actually is easy for me. Is the first thing that popped in my head because I tried to give it a 0 and change my mind because of Starrcade. So I have to go with the Godwins versus the Quebecers. Yep.
I mean, I don't think there was a question. It's that one. That's definitely the worst match of the night. It got our lowest scores. It earned our lowest scores because it sucked.
It was bad. Oh, we just wanted it to be over with. So pretty easy pick. I mean, I said there were a couple choices, but they really weren't. That was the hands down unanimous, unanimous, whatever, hands down, worst match of the night, the Godwins and the Quebecers. I don't even know why the Quebecers are here. What are we doing? Pay-per-view for WrestleMania. What are we doing? So there you go. That was easy. Worst match of the night.
Real simple. Agreed.
We don't got to rank them. I forgot. There's no ranking. We don't got to rank them. This is a standalone right now, so now it means we just got to plug some pluggables.
Well, you can find me at Dragon Blazer Productions on the Facebook, the Instagram, the YouTube, the TikTok. You can also find me at Dragon Blazer Pro on Twitter. I'm sorry, X. I guess we gotta say X now.
Gosh, it's still always gonna be Twitter for me.
Dragon Blazer Pro on the X.
On the X.
The X.
Hey, what are we doing? Yeah.
Hey, you know what? We have
Don't forget to post us.
We have the prominent DX, so
Yeah,
maybe we should
whatever.
just embrace the X, you know?
Yeah, it's just weird. That's all, you know. But you can follow the show. We have the Boomer and Blaze Facebook page. You can also follow us at Boomer_Blaze on the Twitter and the Insta. And we are at Boomer and Blaze Show on the TikToks. So there you go. And I know I keep making promises about being more active on TikTok, but I promise you that's coming. Just have a lot of things going on. But here you go. We did it. We made it through another pay-per-view and won way better than Starrcade. So it wasn't as rough this week. And we know next week we got WrestleMania. With Iron Mike, man.
I may have clicked on the next Starrcade, and guess what? We actually have graphics. We actually got an intro for the next Starrcade. So it's not going to just be like starting a match right off the bat. There's an actual intro. They're trying harder.
It's going to feel like it's a presentation.
Maybe Starrcade 3 won't be as bad.
There you go. We can always have hopes. You know, like I said, I know it'll get better. It's just older wrestling, and it's different watching that. That's all. So
yeah.
But there you go. There you have it. Thank you everyone for tuning in. And like we said, next week WrestleMania. Can't wait to get back, and can't wait to see what the new TKO looks like here. That's the name now that Endeavor has merged WWE and UFC. The company is TKO. That's what it's called now.
No,
very creative. Not. Yeah. So we'll see how all that goes. Yeah, no more McMahon family owned. Crazy world we live in. But anyway, until next week, this has been the Boomer and Blaze Show. I am Boomer.
And I'm Blaze.
And good night from Dragon Blazer Studios.
Hey everyone, this is Blaze from the Ragin' Blaze and the Boomer and Blaze Show. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe for more wrestling content.